Welcome to Straight Talk and Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice in making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 314-931-5877 or text your question to 84126.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, hello, St. Louis, and welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement. You're live and local, St. Louis's favorite financial call-in show. I'm Jeff Lapidus, president of JBL Financial Services. I'm sorry, the ex-president of JBL Financial
Ex-president.
Services. Former president.
Don't they always refer to you as Mr. President once you've been an ex-president? Yeah, right?
Ex-president.
I get referred to as Dad.
The help.
Which is even better. The help is not so nice. I'm telling your mother.
She's laughing.
Of course she is. I'm a 40-year veteran of the financial services area, a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager. And you can tell I'm joined by my crew, my oldest prodigal daughter, certified financial planner, fee-based financial planner and wealth manager, and my son-in-law, Rob Markham, our life insurance fixed annuity sales specialist and also a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager.
Good morning.
Good morning. We help our clients make smart choices about their money. The way we do that is by designing a game plan, a real strategy, a written game plan with several goals in mind.
First is to preserve, protect, and prudently grow the assets our clients have taken their entire lifetimes to accumulate.
Second is to deliver a reliable stream of income, one they can count on, so they can do all the things they want to do in retirement.
And third is cost-effectively addressing their healthcare needs, like helping individuals enroll in Medicare and choosing the right plan to couple with their Medicare coverage.
And then when they're done enjoying their assets during their lifetime, we show them how to pass them on to the people they love, whether it's their spouses or children, grandchildren, churches, or charities, whoever it might be, without Uncle Sam or the tax courts taking a big bite out of their money. And as their wealth managers, Aaron, Rob, and I watch their money every single day to make sure they're staying on track. And that's why they call us the retirement coaches. Folks, good morning. It's been a fun week.
Interesting week.
It's been a great week.
Every week's a good week.
My birthday week.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody who sent their greetings and happy birthdays, and
You even got a balloon.
I got a few gifts. I got a few goodies.
I saw that balloon.
The clients, they came in, gave me a few goodies. It was fun,
That's nice.
as always. We also had a presidential debate,
Your birthday was better?
earliest one in history.
I enjoyed it.
I don't know. They could have called it the debacle instead of the debate, but
Wasn't great.
We're not going to take a lot of time on that this morning,
Or any.
but maybe a little. And of course, we're getting ready this weekend for 4th of July, Independence Day.
That's right.
Woo-hoo!
Next Thursday.
Exactly. Next Thursday will be fun.
It falls beautifully, like right in the middle of the week. So that's
Right.
What's a super long time off for many people.
Right. Get the whole week off.
Our staff isn't, though. You didn't tell them, did you?
Thursday and Friday.
What do you mean?
Exactly. Enjoy your life. Thursday and Friday. Relaxation.
Exactly. We want to take you folks. Thanks so much for everybody tuning in today. We got 2 hours, we think, of fun, excitement. We think it's exciting anyways, because we get to answer your calls and questions at 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the KTRS text line. And as Aaron is going to tell you, there are lots of ways You can keep in touch with us during the week if you'd like to.
Yes, you can. Could log on to our website, jblfinancial.com. In the upper right-hand corner, you can click on the Contact Us button, request a coaching session, financial, Medicare, or both. On the lower left-hand side of the screen, you can see a pop-up box that appears that says sign up for our monthly newsletter. We call it the Coach's Corner, and we do keep the last 6 to 12 months archived on the website for you, along with other videos, recordings of our show. Unfortunately, we can't keep up with the weekly airings of the show because they do need to go through compliance first. So if you're someone that's waiting for an old episode, you'll just have to wait a little bit longer. Someone has to listen to the full 2 hours, so it takes a little bit of time.
Do you think they have like a pad out? They're taking notes?
Well, one of the reviewers told me that they would jump on the treadmill and listen to us.
Oh.
You know, got to pass the time somehow.
It's smart. And, you know, you always like to do one thing while you're doing another, so.
I don't think they need to get the pad out. They're pretty good. They know, like, can't say that. It's all over for you. Minute 4:32, so can't air that episode. But anyway, you're just staring at me.
Well, I'm just thinking about somebody listening to the show and like tripping and flying off the treadmill or something.
Oh, because what we said was so novel and exciting. Oh, never thought of retirement planning in that way before.
We're dinging them for that one.
Never. Anyway, so like I said, keep lots of great content on the website. But if you'd like to have content delivered directly to your inbox, sign up for our weekly newsletter, or our monthly newsletter, rather. We call it the Coach's Corner. And Rob, tell us a little bit about our outgoing June newsletter.
And this is the last week of our June 2024 newsletter, so you're going to want to be sure to check out some of the great articles we have in there for you. The first one being financial regrets. Do you have financial regrets? If so, you're not alone. 3 out of 4 adults, according to a recent survey, not only have financial regrets, but the most common ones are taking on too much credit card debt and not saving enough for retirement. But as I go through this infographic here, I noticed they have one, buying more house than I could afford. I thought that one was rather interesting. But
no, Rob, what's interesting is they do have this broken out by different demographics, millennials, Gen X's versus baby boomers. And as you can kind of see, the way that they put the questions together, that as you get older, the things that you were worried about when you were younger seem to kind of slip away, and the things that you
So a recency bias, right?
Well, as
things
an example,
closer are more
right. Millennials are the ones that say that they regret for not saving enough for retirement. And at the same time, they're also on the low end of the scale about taking on too much student loan debt. So it's really a recency effect, which is when you're worried about what you're worried about when you're in the moment.
I agree. Totally.
Sure.
I mean, the things that used to occupy my mind's eye just 10 years ago are fallen by the wayside, and I won't even speak to 20 years ago. Like,
different person.
Absolutely. And our next article, should you buy or lease your next vehicle?
Yes.
Absolutely.
You do both.
New vehicle prices have skyrocketed. The average cost now is over $48,000 a year. Those costs, coupled with high interest rates, mean that a new vehicle could take a significant bite out of your budget. This article lays out some fundamental things to consider before you buy or lease. And I was looking at cars last night, and I was astonished at some of the prices. I mean, it's not unusual to see a car that's like 2 or 3 years old and they want $40,000 for it.
Astonished.
It really is. It's like, we joke, before we come on the air about, the call at the garage sale, I know what I got, no lowballers. And it seems like that seems to be like the modus operandi for the used car market right now. It's really, really astonishing. I hope they start to come down sometime soon. But our next article, saving for college, 529 plans versus Roth IRAs. This is a very interesting article, I think. It compares which is best when saving for and paying for college expenses. These plans differ in some important ways. 529 plans can be opened by anyone. Not anyone can contribute to a Roth IRA. However, you have to have earned income to contribute. And even then, there are some income limitations. If you make too much, you may be priced out. 529 plans were specifically designed for college savings and expenses, whereas Roth IRAs are primarily a retirement savings vehicle with a college expense provisions. So it's an informative article that'll lay out some of the nuances and differences between the two so you can make the right decision. And our last article, our birthday benefits quiz. It's a fun little article designed to test your knowledge of the legal age-based changes that occur when you get on the right side of 50.
And since this is really the last day of the month of Dad.
That means I get to ask you the question because you guys have been asking me, which is...
Oh, okay, go for it.
When, at what age, and this is going to be a hard one because you're children. At what age are you eligible to withdraw money from a tax-deferred employer plan or an IRA, without incurring the 10% federal tax penalty?
That's a trick question. There's two answers to it.
It could be 55 if it's a 401k, or it could be 59.5 if it's an IRA.
Right.
And
what? How's that wrong?
Well, because 55 is, well, you're right.
Right. Right.
You're right.
Right.
That's right. The 50, you're right. I wasn't thinking about the 55 rule.
Rob was, though.
Well, Rob may have been because he's a brainiac, but that really wasn't the question.
You said IRA or deferred.
It wasn't the question, Aaron.
Okay, so 59 and a half, all right? Goodness.
Who wrote this crummy quiz?
Whose newsletter is this? Okay, you know.
Rob proofread it. He's fired. Okay.
Yeah, I actually selected these guys.
You know. Unfortunately, you are.
Way to call the man out after 5 weeks of repeating.
Right. This thing is garbage. Waiter, get over here.
Well, I wanted to keep him as my son-in-law a little longer. That's all I can tell you.
Just the one day.
Yeah.
Well, no, not to worry, everyone. There'll be a new newsletter next week that you can critique on air, Dad. No problem.
That sounds great. You can tell I'm not proofreading this stuff before we get it on the air.
And just remember, we keep the last 12 to 18.
Even the lousy ones.
Even the lousy ones.
Even the ones with trick questions.
Right. We keep them archived on our website for your reading and downloading pleasure. So if by all means, if you are so inclined, by all means, enjoy our content.
Please, we would appreciate it. And you know, the text line has started to heat up early this morning.
That's good. I think we're having too much fun. So let's give out the number again, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the Getting Hot and Heavy KTRS text line.
And our first texter writes, what is the maximum amount we can put in our family's HSA for 2024? We are both retired, over 55, and our family are all covered under my spouse's health insurance. I've heard we can both contribute under the same plan, but can't get an exact amount and don't want to over contribute.
10,500.
So, no, it's 10,300.
It's $51.50 per individual, I think.
$41.50 per
plus
individual,
plus
$1,000.
That's new.
Correct. In 2024, in 2024 you can contribute up to $4,150 if you have health coverage, or $8,300 if you have coverage for your family. If you're over 50, you can contribute $1,000. Since both spouses are over 50, they can contribute another $2,000 total, $10,300.
Beautiful. Thank you for the clarification.
Happy to help.
There we go.
You know, we always like to double check. I got a great little infographic from one of the, not infographic, a cheat sheet on taxes for the year from one of our from one of the companies that we work with.
Oh, that one is on the other side of it. It has the RMD schedules.
Got all the facts and figures on it. So we're ready, locked and loaded for any more tax contribution questions.
And don't call us because we're not sending it to you.
Right. We cannot release it, but we can absolutely give you the information if you have a question.
Do we have another text? Yeah.
Well, we do just have a warning for your birthday dinner this evening. Be careful. Aaron might make you that chocolate pie from The Help.
Uh-huh.
If you have seen the movie, then you'll get the joke. But it's a girl movie, so I don't think you and Rob have seen it. So we'll let that pass by.
No, I was watching Predator. Sorry.
It's a great movie. No.
Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen.
Your mom said we're getting a Dairy Queen cake for tonight.
You are a lucky guy.
I sure am. The best part is going on her charge. Woo-hoo.
Even better.
Again, our phone lines are open. Love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. This isn't on our script today, so I'm going off script.
Going off script?
And I can do that.
For now.
Just because I'm going to. As can be imagined, been receiving questions at every single coaching session that I've had, asking my opinion about what happens if Joe wins or what happens if Blow wins.
So, of Tweedledee and Tweedledum, what happens next?
Well, this has been my take on it. Again, it certainly is only my opinion, and it's not divinely inspired. It's just my thought process here. We understand what the current agenda is of the current administration, and there obviously hasn't been any further new stuff that's going to happen.
They haven't had any initiatives announced,
right?
Yet.
And they probably won't. So that being the case, what's happening now is going to continue to go on, so you know what you have.
Right.
The other agenda, the other side, has a different agenda. It's a little bit more growth-oriented.
Well, we've also seen that agenda before.
And we have seen both of them.
Yeah.
So I don't see there being any surprises for our portfolio. It may be a situation where we may need to look and say, okay, do we need to add some emphasis here versus there? And
in my conversations with clients, we're always talking about, obviously, whomever is elected, that'll drive some decisions, but really their conversations about what happens in the first 100 days, because there'll be new agenda items if Biden is reelected, even if it's a continuation of the last administration, and there'll definitely be new agenda items if Trump is elected, because his 100 days will start off much differently than a continuation of a previous term.
I think what's important here is that the market isn't going to fall off the planet on the next day after the election, regardless of who is elected.
Right. Well, we'll have some sort of reaction, but those are usually short-lived.
We know both of these guys. And that's just the way it works. So again, I would say that, like anything else,
you want to focus on the fundamentals.
Yes, you do. And the economy is strong. It continues to be strong, which is great. And so whoever's basically driving the train can certainly change the speed.
But we are on a track, it seems.
Well, we are on a track upwards, which is great. And hopefully your portfolios are seeing that this year. If you are invested and being invested, et cetera, which is great. And then certainly the other side of that is if you're not invested for whatever reason, whether liquidity purposes or you're just a little afraid, hopefully you're in a place where you're earning a high rate of interest. You're actually getting paid
higher rate of interest than you have in the past, which is nice.
First time that's been able to be said in quite some time.
Like 20 years.
Right. And, when we consider where we're at now versus where we were 24 months ago in terms of interest rates. I mean, it's obviously significant. It went from basically 1% to...
Well, from 0 to, 5.25%?
Right.
4.25%?
It's enticing. It's kind of nice, but you can't lock those rates in for 30 years. Number one. Number two is when you're locking in interest yields, you're locking out growth. And that's something to consider.
Put a cap on yourself.
So having a diversified portfolio is important so that you're taking advantage of both sides of the equation. What's nice now is that the interest side of the equation, we'll call it the fixed income side, is actually, as I like to say, being able to hold its water. You can earn yields that are reasonable in excess of 4%. You don't have to lock up your money forever. And that's great because if we're looking at, as we do, our prism is pretty simple, 4%. It's a 4% withdrawal quarter. So if the interest side of the fence is able to earn more than 4, it's holding its water.
It does give us the opportunity to rely less on the equity market, which can give some people make people feel a little bit more comfortable. So we can adjust risk tolerances and portfolios based on what the fixed income side of the market is doing. But as in all things, it's not guaranteed.
Yeah, and I would certainly say also is that almost every client, every meeting I'm having with clients, especially those during coaching sessions, I'm always asking them about, are they earning a reasonable yield on their savings? And many of them they haven't taken the time. The bank is going to come to you and say, oh, by the way, we now offer a money market account that's paying X. They'll leave you in your low interest whatever, or your no interest whatever. You need to take a little initiative to make sure that you're earning what you think you can. And that's important.
And let's go to our first caller. We have Jim on the line. Good morning, Jim.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Certainly.
I had a question about Social Security. If you look at the Social Security statement, it says, in reference to your full retirement age, it says, this assumes that you will continue to make the same amount of money up until your full retirement age. That almost sounds like, if say my wife and I, we were both retired at 63, going to wait till 67. We'll have no problem waiting till 67. It almost makes it sound like since we're not working to pay into Social Security these next 4 years, it almost makes it sound like we could see a decrease in that full retirement age amount that's currently on the statement.
So, Jim, what that's actually referring to is, so the way that they calculate your normal retirement age benefit is using the top 30 quarters, which is the top 10 years of your 40 covered quarters, rather, the top 10 years of your income. So for some individuals, if they worked just 10 years and then they stopped working, they might see a decrease in their or if they only worked, let's say 9 years, they may see a decrease in their Social Security benefit because they are not continuing to add to their income. In your particular case, I'm assuming you and your wife both worked more than the covered quarters are required. So they're only going to use your top earning years to calculate your Social Security benefit. All of the zeros that you have now, because you're not earning wages, those all fall to the bottom.
Okay, good. I didn't know if it would reach a point where there'd be a decrease to where, would I have been better off drawing at 65 or something like that. But yeah, I think you pretty much answered that.
Good.
Jim, could we hold you on for a moment here? I want to ask you a question. It sounds,
Sure.
You mentioned that your income, I guess, that you and your wife are receiving right now, I assume it's from pension or other sources, is sufficient to make your lifestyle work, correct? And that's why you're putting off taking your Social Security benefits until normal retirement age?
That is correct. We both, I've worked probably, 35 years, and between 401ks, pensions, we can make it work, and fixed annuities, variable annuities, mutual funds, the whole 9 yards. And our plan is just to keep us under right in the 12% tax bracket, maybe drawing out some of the fixed annuities just to keep us under there, keep it, inside those annuities. But say at the end of the year, we might say, hey, we want to draw out 10K more to bring us up to, I think it's about 123.5 time you take off the general deduction. And then whenever we're going to keep doing that until we hit 67, and then by then we won't be able to stay out of the 22 by then, what's currently the 22% tax bracket.
Are you covered by a health plan right now through one of your previous employers, or are you going through the ACA?
My wife worked at a college, and we're paying our insurance out of her pension amount. Okay,
so
we got
you got a retiree plan through the university or wherever she worked, and you can continue on that plan after COBRA. I mean, you've just elected to stay on her plan, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
She retired about a couple of years before I did. I'm retired out of the steel business, and she worked in the business office at a college.
Okay, I'm wondering, because we're obviously talking about a fair amount of time for your period between now and when your normal retirement age is. And I'm just wondering is if you've done the math to figure out how much you're actually foregoing from an income point of view. and how long that's going to take you to break even, number one. And then number two, from a taxability point of view, you know that only up to 85% of your Social Security benefits are actually subject to federal income tax. So they're better than annuity withdrawals or 401k or IRA withdrawals, et cetera. Have you had an advisor? Are you working with an advisor to sort of help you do that math, or are you just doing it on your own?
I'm kind of doing it on my own. Our advisor has said this is what's available, and then my wife and I would say, well, this is, that sounds like a pretty good idea, and we're doing it from that standpoint. But
okay, well, and that sounds like he's talking about investment options for you, which is fine. I would go to him or her and say, I talked to the guy on the radio, and he said we maybe ought to take a look at what the difference is between how much money we're foregoing. So as an example, let's just say for fun here is that the Social Security benefit that you can collect today is $2,500 a month. And
it'll be about $44K a year, and then my wife, she could get half of mine. So between us both, it'd be about $66. Okay,
well that's at normal retirement age, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so today would be certainly a little less than that. Let's just say, for as an example, for you was 30. So you're giving up $30,000 a year today, $2,500 a month times 48 months. So you're really looking at, you're giving up about $120,000. She wouldn't, as you know, under the new rules, which is one reason why you may have considered that you were thinking about waiting, is that she doesn't get your full 50% until she's her normal retirement age. So that's a big hook, and that's a big deal for her. But that doesn't mean that maybe you might consider the possibility here where maybe you're taking your benefit, she's not taking hers, and waiting until she gets to be there. Then you're doing less withdrawals from your retirement accounts. You can Social Security on your side, and then when she hits her normal retirement age, she can then go up to half what your normal would be.
No, can she still draw half of mine even though I started early?
Yes.
Once she hits full retirement age? Okay.
So you might want to take a look at these options. Again, I think sitting down with a financial advisor would be a good thing for you because it'll help you think about the things you're not thinking about. And it sounds like you're really making you have a good thought process and good decisions here. But I know if you can get a little bit more information, that may be helpful for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, good.
Well, while we're on this, go on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You had another question. That's fine.
Yes. This is something I read last week on one of the news websites, and it mentioned something like you're only allowed one IRA withdrawal within 1 year, or IRA transfer, something like that. Well, what I did was I took my 401k and I put it with, there were 3 separate withdrawals that went to 3 separate people. They're still stayed within tax deferred, but I'm wondering if I violated that one IRA to IRA within a year. They were 401k to IRA at least.
I think you're just thinking about the IRS gives individuals an opportunity to make one IRA withdrawal per year that they decide they'd like to return to their IRA.
Withdrawal is being a distribution, and then it's getting returned. Right.
What you've done are what are considered trustee-to-trustee transfers. There was no taxation for you in those movements, so they're not considered withdrawals. They're just considered transfers. So you haven't violated any rules.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Because it said only within 365. Wasn't a calendar year, but 365.
Right.
Yeah. So you can make unlimited transfers between IRA to IRA, as an example, or 401k to IRA, or you want to change advisors, whatever it would be. What the IRS was really getting to was people taking money from an IRA. It's a distribution, but then they return it within 60 days, and it's considered not a taxable one. So people were using these in many cases almost like an interest-free loan for 60 days to get money, and they put a kibosh to that. That's why they limit it to just once per year. But again, thanks so much for your call. We appreciate it. Again, our phone lines are open for other folks. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. But don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after these messages.
Find summer savings now at appliance discounters on the most dependable washer and dryer, Speed Queen. With an average life expectancy of 25 years, for a limited time, the Speed Queen Classic Series, you'll receive a $300 cash rebate via the mail. Appliance Discounters is the largest locally owned dealer in the metropolitan area. They buy more than the other guys and sell for less. Always 12 months free financing. Find the new Speed Queen at Appliance Discounters online at theappliancediscounters.com.
Soccer in St. Louis has never been hotter, and this summer promises to be one of the best. St. Louis City SC, the European Championships, and the Copa America right here in the U.S. If you're looking to play like the pros, then you need to shop where the pros shop. Soccer Master, the World Cup of soccer shops. Footwear, apparel, and everything you need to start your season. Adidas, Nike, Puma, New Balance, and if you are looking for St. Louis City SC gear or any of your favorite club or national team jerseys, Soccer Master has it all. Stop in today or go to soccermaster.com.
Is it time to replace that old worn-out flooring? Shop the city and save at JJS Flooring. JJS offers a wide variety of options that will surely meet your flooring needs.
We tried shopping the big box stores and that was useless. So we decided to head to JJS, and wow, I'm glad we did. Dennis and Sean were so helpful and knowledgeable. They told us what would work in what room and what wouldn't. They have over 40 years of experience in flooring. That's all they do is flooring. And save? Yes, we saved a ton, and our house looks amazing now. New hardwoods in the living room and tile in the kitchen and bath. Thank you, JJS.
See the ultra-soft carpets from Stanton, truly the softest carpet on the market, and it's backed by the legendary Stainmaster warranty.
Check out the engineered hardwood starting at $1.60 a square foot. JJS is looking to add experienced floor layers to its team. Find them at 2301 Gravois Avenue, just west of Hodax. See what JJS can do for you. Their service will floor you.
You're selling your home, and I want to buy it. This is Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I am ready to pay top dollar for your home. No contingencies, no inspections, no monkey business. I buy your home no matter the condition or location, and you walk away with cash. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867, 314-283-0867, or at robankproperties.com. That's ROBANG properties.com.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to the show. We're at 9:37 here on the Big 550 KTRS. The text line is getting hot, I think.
We've got some spirited text messages coming through.
Let's go to the first text first, or the top text first.
And our first texter writes, do you think CD rates will continue to be good in the short term? Also, do the advisory firms get any paybacks from the banks they shop?
Well, we do not currently hold CDs in our advisory accounts with clients. Any recommendations that we make are solely based on if you are going to be holding some safe money and you'd like to earn a nicer return on it. We actually request that you keep that at your local bank. So we don't get any kickbacks or incentives from when we mention, for example, online money market accounts. There's no relationship that we've built. We're just trying to do the best work we can for our clients.
And I think the underlying tone here was,
what about the rates?
Was not just about the rates, but was also about compensation, which is really the primary reason that we don't hold our clients safe money, because we have to charge them 1%.
Don't want to do that.
And in the old, up until 2 years ago, that would have been negative returns for them, right?
Especially in money market, if we were utilizing a money market fund or something along those lines. What about your thoughts on the CD rates? I would say that they're probably leveled off, if not going to start to see a recension, because I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion because anything can happen, but most people are under the belief that within the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to see at least one rate cut.
I think you probably have decent rates for at least the next 6 to 12 months. If you haven't gotten a CD, you probably still be able to get them through the end of the year, but the window is beginning to close.
We're already seeing rates coming down on other things. For example,
money market accounts.
Mortgages are starting to pull back on their peaks from the past, which happen to be one of the most sensitive rates. If you are looking at annuity contracts, many of the fixed annuity carriers have started to pull back their guaranteed crediting
Just
rates.
Slightly.
Exactly, just slightly in anticipation of the fact that we're going to see a rate cut within the next 6 to 12 months. So I think probably a leveling off, if not a pullback.
The thing that I use, the measure, if you want to call it, that I use is it's anecdotal, which is I talk to my golf buddies, which is
the construction crew.
Exactly, my buddies, the contractors, the cement guy, the asphalt guy, and the sewer guy, and I'm always asking them about their backlogs. Probably once every 2-3 weeks, how are your backlogs doing? And they're the first ones usually to get hit when a recession's coming, and they're going full steam ahead. We're doing great. More work than we need, as much as we've had in years. We don't see it stopping. And so until they say we're starting to slow down, they're not going to give me any strokes either. But I would say rates should be pretty flat where we're at.
Well, before we go to our next break, you're annoying people. Not just me, Dad.
I don't look at it that way. You have fans out there. That's how we have to look at it.
Does your mom know the text line? Maybe she's writing this stuff. What can I tell you?
I think she would use more strongly worded language.
Well, go ahead. Fire away.
And our next texter writes, Jeff, it annoys me when you talk.
Just a bit.
It annoys me a bit that when you talk about, quote unquote, this administration, you don't know what they have done for people. However, you speak of the, quote unquote, growth mindset of the previous administration. I really would like it if you could note the positives that have come with this administration. How about starting with the 529 plan rollover to a Roth?
That is
dramatic
true.
Effect, all Roberts.
Thank you, Robert.
You're very welcome.
If it's okay,
it was good.
Thought I really tried to punctuate.
For the 4 months that they may have left, and who knows how. Could be 4 months, could be 4 years
and 4 months.
Could be. I'll try to get some music so we can get a positive undertone when I say the current administration.
Right.
Don't mean to offend anyone, certainly, even though I don't see them as being growth oriented. Period. But in terms of 529 plans, they did make it. There has been a change that's occurred, so that if you hold these plans for at least 15 years,
right, you have to hold them for 15 years.
Assuming 529 even exists 15 years from now, that you can make a partial distribution, roll over to a Roth IRA.
Maximum
the annual contribution amount.
$35,000 lifetime limit.
And there's 3 caveats here. One, the 529 has to be in existence for 15 years because the idea is that you're not trying to backdoor a Roth contribution through a 529 plan. You're actually using the 529 as how it was intended, which is for secondary or post-secondary education expenses. Second, once that 15-year mark has been hit, you can convert to a Roth in the name of the person that the 529 plan was originally in, with the maximum 401 or IRA contribution of that year, and the most that you can contribute over the lifetime. So the most you can convert is $35,000.
Right, and you have to do it in the allotments of what IRA provisions allow for. So if you had $35,000, you can't put it all in at once.
Correct.
Right, and to sing the rest of their praises.
The next question was just a follow-up. Are you saying that some firms might include CDs in their fee? That doesn't seem very fiduciary-minded if they aren't really managing it.
Correct.
Well, making a recommendation, we can't speak to what other firms allow have or held in accounts at other firms, but if an advisor is making a recommendation on a purchase, and this is in your fixed portion of your portfolio, I would just say that it was a recommendation. Now, there's a hold strategy involved with that for the duration of the CD,
right.
But for example, we've purchased, other financial products inside of client accounts that are held over longer periods of time. It was still part of our game plan.
Well, what we also do, though, is for clients that come with those type of assets that are truly buy and hold assets, what we also do is we separate those into a brokerage
we're not
account.
Making recommendations on them.
Right. So we try to be fair. I mean, the bottom line is that for us, we don't charge a fee on assets we're not actively making recommendations on. Some folks do, and that's something you have to deal with if you're in that situation. Not a big deal. Do we have any more, honey?
No.
No more good ones?
They're all good ones.
They're always good ones.
They're all good ones.
The only bad ones are the ones you don't get.
Right. So that means if you have a question or just a thought or a comment, you want to tell us how my dad's annoying you too, 314-931-5877 or a text 84126 from the text line. We read them all.
Should we take our second break of the hour?
Let's take our second break.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be back with more Straight Talk on Retirement after these messages.
We sell truckloads of siding, windows, doors, and decking. My name is Julius Krasanik, and I'm celebrating 52 years in this industry. Our company is Wholesale Siding Depot. We have over 200 years of combined siding, window, door, and decking knowledge from our seasoned customer service group. My grandson Elijah says,
"Are you kidding me?"
With just one click to WSDepot.com, that's WSDepot.com, you will find the best brands in the business like Anderson, Certainteed, Viwinco, Masonite, Provia, Trex, TimberTech, and others. We also offer a great selection of styles and colors that are durable and energy-saving, all at everyday wholesale pricing. No silly window ads that say buy 2 windows, get 2 free, or 50% off labor. We also have a free contractor referral service to take care of your installation needs. Keep it local, family, and professional. Please visit our website, WSDepot.com. That's WSDepot.com.
It's time to make a summertime splash with Dogtown Pizza. Hi, Josh here, and what better way to feed that hungry pool party than with a couple of Dogtown pizzas? And with 11 different varieties, there's something for every swimmer this summer. Who wants hamburgers from the grill when you can have it on your pizza? And fresh from the garden, it's tomato, basil, garlic. Just remember to wait 45 minutes before diving back in. Make a splash this summer with Dogtown Pizza.
Hey, what's that? It's my new Yeti cocktail shaker. It matches my ice bucket and my drinkware. Ooh, Yeti makes the coolest stuff. Yeah, they do. And I got it all at Schnarr's.
Frank Blair from Schnarr's Hardware here. Are you looking to give a gift that your loved one can use year-round? Then give the gift of the best gear with Yeti products found at Schnarr's Hardware. We have a wide selection of hard and soft coolers, insulated drinkware, waterproof and everyday bags, other outdoor gear, and accessories. Every Yeti performs when it matters most, whether it be commuting, hiking, boating, hunting, camping, or just getting together with friends in the backyard. Find the right Yeti for you at Schnarr's. For hours, locations, or to shop online, go to schnarrs.com. Because gifting is easy when you start at Schnarr's.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to the show. We're on our last segment of hour number 1.
And we've got some just brief follow-up text questions and comments. And texter writes, Jeff, I really tried not to be harsh.
That's our job, texter. Don't you worry about that.
We love giving Jeff a little bit of grief. And our follow-up to that is, thank you. That was very helpful. Did not know about the 15 years and $35,000 lifetime limit. Thank you so much.
You're
very welcome.
And all these cool new ideas and there's been a lot of them released since COVID. The Secure Act, the first one, and then the follow-up to that. We're always trying to think about how do we take these new rules to our advantage. So we were trying to drill down into that 529 rule because it did sound compelling at first. And it is compelling in some ways because you really can potentially, if you've started a 529 for your child, for your grandchild, and maybe they exceed your expectations, they don't need the money because they have scholarships or they had financial aid that covered the majority of it, but you'd still like to leave them some money. It's a great way to be able to start their retirement down the line.
And it's nice.
And not lock it up in that 529 forever.
Right. It doesn't get trapped in there where you don't really have the maneuverability.
Right.
So,
you got to pay taxes if you want it back out.
Right. It's a nice trap door.
Well, I was just thinking, if let's say you had someone that had set up a plan for their grandchild and they maxed it out, they put in like $250,000. Kid doesn't need it's sitting there.
They don't need $250,000, so it's in the 529.
It's in the 529.
Okay.
And they can only get $35,000 out.
Right, over what is it? Well, if it stayed at 7, that would be a 5-year period or so.
Right. Well, so what they
7.
could do is, I'm thinking here, they roll over part of it to the Roth.
Every
for
year
that
they're doing
child,
that. Yeah.
And then they change the name on the account.
Yep.
Oh,
to
yeah.
the next one.
Yep.
And then what they just start doing is they systematically drain the money out, or they split the account into like 3 or 4, assuming how many grandchildren they had, 3 or 4 of these, and then they do the conversions into that. So
yes, there haven't been any changes to the fact that, and many people that utilize 529 plans know this now, that as the owner of the 529, you can change the benefactor. So, for example, if you've named one of your grandchildren or your children as on the 529 plan, if they have finished their secondary or their post-secondary education and needs, and you want to pass this money on to the next grandchild, you can rename the account from grandchild 1 to grandchild 2. So maybe once all of your family has completed their 529 plan needs, you could do it in one of 2 ways: the conversions on an annual basis, and then change the name on the 529 plan. Once you got to $35,000 for one, that would take a very long time.
Right. Well, at least 4 years
per conversion. So you could
be as old as Moses by the time if you have a big family.
Maybe Roths will be taxable by then. You could split the 529 plan amongst 4 people into 4 different 529 plans and then do the conversions, and you could do them all in the same year because they're theoretically coming from different 529 plan accounts.
No, we're really smart when it comes to thinking about this stuff because we think about this all the time. We'll have to wait to see if somebody does this. There'll be somebody.
Somebody's going to have a test case.
Right. They're going to trap a bunch of money in there that can't be used or not going to be used for educational purposes. And then it's going to play, like, how do I unwind this?
Well, honey, I wouldn't mind doing this for you.
For me, I've already gone to college. Thank you.
Just go and have triplets, which would be nice.
Just go and have them.
Okay. And then I'll just pump money into 529 for.
Just go and have them.
And split it up and go from there.
Say it one more time. Just go and
have them.
Quit practicing, go and have them. Okay.
That's real nice.
You're welcome.
Well, textures, I can confirm I am annoyed. No, just kidding.
And I'm still hoping to get dinner tonight. Our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from text line. Want to do a quickie in the last 6 months of this particular hour.
It does feel like 6 months.
This segment, I want to call this, Aaron renamed it, which was nice because I was thinking the same thing, is we're calling this one Love It or List It.
For our HGTV fans, we know they're out there.
Right. So I'm visiting with Joe and Sally for our semi-annual coaching session. This just happened this week. They've both been retired for about 3 years. Joe was a chiropractor. Sally was a nurse practitioner. What's nice is they're in a situation where they paid off all their debts. So they have no mortgage debt. They have no student loan debts, etc. They have almost $1 million in their retirement accounts, but they're not using the money. They're also not old enough to take required minimum distributions. So we're watching. Hopefully what's happening is markets are working, the money's growing, and they're happy.
And part of what you didn't mention about Joe and Sally is they've been clients for several years at this point,
yes.
And their game plan is working exactly as we planned, which is prior to Joe turning 70, they were taking distributions from their retirement accounts, similar to our caller. They were living off of their retirement accounts, and
Social Security got turned on.
Joe's goal was to get to 70 to turn his Social Security benefit on. And as soon as he did, they stopped needing distributions at all from their retirement accounts, and now they've created a new situation.
Faucet management.
Exactly.
So, and we only tell you this because Joe recently inherited the family farm from his father. He has 2 siblings. Neither of them are in town.
Neither of the siblings.
Neither of the siblings are in town, and also neither of the siblings have any children.
Okay.
This is kind of important to the story. And so they inherited this farm, and so Joe, of course, being the oldest, he's the one who's now...
He's fixing up the farm.
He's fixing up the farm. This is really what's taking up a lot of his time. He does have... One of his children has grandchildren. That's mostly grandma time. But he's up trying to fix up the barn.
He's been on the roof with the...
Right. At 70 years old, which is not fun. So his wife isn't happy about it, but, she's not there, so too bad. So in either case, again, Joe's responsible for the family farm operations. And Joe's doing all the repairs.
And it needed a lot of work, to suffice it to say.
And what they're doing is that, some of the farm is being used as farm.
What do you mean some of the farm is being used at the farm?
Well, not all the acreage is devoted
growing crop.
Exactly. Gotcha. And so that some of that's being used. And what's happening is they're making enough net income to cover maintenance, but also to cover
the improvements.
The improvements. They're not taking any money out of this thing.
Well, that's good.
And Joe's getting older. And so I had a couple questions for him. And certainly these are ones I know that you guys thought about as well. Question 1.
How long are you going to do this, man?
How long can you?
How long do you even want to?
Exactly. When you're not
farm
getting...
work's a lot of work.
It's hard work.
And what's interesting is I said, have you had a year yet? Well, this is really his first year, but what happens in a year when there's drought? Or a year when it rains too much?
Who's going to take the financial responsibility?
Right, exactly. You're not kicking any of your money right now, but is this something that you want to get involved in? And frankly, your 2
also, will your siblings get involved in it?
Right. What's interesting here is that he told me that as a deathbed thing, his son, his oldest son, said, "Yeah, Grandpa, I'm going to keep the farm. I'll keep it going. We'll keep the property." Well, he's not in town either. So I just, I'm just sort of, I'm kind of just thinking this through my mind. It's like, let's see, now you can't work, you don't want to, your brother's siblings don't want to, and your son doesn't want to.
Well, this is also something that, it doesn't necessarily have to be a family farm because that might not be relatable for many of our listeners. But this is a situation that does come up, which is everybody wants it when people are alive, but then when someone else is taking the responsibility for it. Joe's taking the responsibility for the family farm right now, so everybody still wants it because they don't really have to kick in. What happens when Joe can't or doesn't want to anymore? Do those people still want to take responsibility for it? Are you creating a difficult situation with a part of the inheritance for your family?
Well, also you talk about the property ownership too. What happens if when one of the other siblings dies? Do they actually does their estate get money for their portion or not? Or,
Well, there wouldn't be any per stirpies because they don't have any kids. So.
Right. So interesting situation. And, what I suggested was maybe it's time for a family powwow.
Right.
Have a discussion. Love it or list it.
What did they say to that?
They said they thought that was a good idea because it would be an opportunity for them to kind of vet all these things out in the open about, is there really people that are interested? Their son is in a situation where he may love the farm, but he has young kids. He's not in town. He's not able to take care of it. Are they really going to move here eventually? That type of a thing. Let's get this out in the open and deal with it.
That's a good point. Especially there's probably a lot of moving parts. Like, are we going to rent the farmland out as opposed to actually farming it ourselves? What do you do with the property that's being fixed up? Because I know it's a house and a barn too. So there's a lot of components to it.
Lots of components. And so sometimes it's important to bet these things, because interestingly enough,
especially when everyone's all around, things are still working the way that they're supposed to, as opposed to having to make these decisions when something unforeseen or unfortunate happens. Like if Joe couldn't do the work anymore.
Or there was a drought, or you don't
Like
want to
you
make
said.
decisions like this under pressure and anxiety.
Well, the other thing you have to recognize is that we're not an agrarian society anymore. So these family farms, I mean, unless somebody has, one of the siblings has gone on, is actually working the farm now, they're not going to be able to work it later.
They are valuable, though.
But don't touch it now. We'll be back with some more Straight Talk on Retirement for the next hour, right after these commercial messages.
Talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to Straight Talk on Retirement, hour number 2. We forgot to mention in the first hour that we've got Frank back in the studio with us, our Medicare coach. Good morning,
Good
Frank.
morning.
Now, you may have been listening on your ride in, I don't know, but my dad took the opportunity in the first hour to annoy some people with his thoughts. I really love our upcoming segment, and I'm going to take responsibility for annoying any of our potential listeners. We get some comments about, Medicare Advantage plans, how they work, if people are not well on them, how do they work, and they couldn't possibly be as competitive as the supplements. And I don't usually share those with you because sometimes they're angry.
Yeah.
The emails are a little angry. But that's okay, because we understand people have their opinions, and the great thing is everybody gets to make their own selection. Even if you decide to work with us, you're still making your selection. Frank, you just kind of lay out all the great options that are available and how they work, they'll work for each individual. So I really liked this segment that you put together for us about Ken, because not to preview too much of it, but I think you're going to give us the opportunity to go through what happens when the unexpected happens and you need to utilize your Medicare Advantage plan for something more than your routine physicals, your annual visit to the cardiologist. Maybe you need a little lab x-ray test. Maybe you hurt yourself a little, you use it for the ER and maybe a visit somewhere else. What happens when you need to consistently use your Medicare Advantage plan?
That's right. And that's one of the big questions with these Medicare Advantage plans is that the misconception is folks will come on to these plans and they have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars and things aren't being covered that they need to be covered when they come up. So this is going to be the perfect opportunity to where even I was able to see exactly, what these costs are, how we're breaking these costs down, and what your portion of these costs are. Great. So we're going to clear up a lot of things with these Medicare Advantage plans in terms of how they work and your actual bottom dollar and how that's going to work.
Great.
So this story is about Ken.
Great.
Ken has been a client of ours, and actually, whenever I first started for the company, I had a chance to meet Ken about 3 years or so back, a little bit over than 3 years back, and I got him enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan right away.
Great. So he turned 65. He jumped onto Medicare Advantage.
That's right. So
Gotcha.
He turned 65. He took Medicare Advantage, and we're just going to say he came on in November of 2021. Okay. So this past November, okay, that's right in the middle of that open enrollment period time. A lot of folks hear it as open enrollment. The actual term of it is annual enrollment period. So you'll see AEP, annual enrollment. So that's that enrollment. That's the big one from October through December 7th, where you can, take your Medicare Advantage plan and go into a traditional Medicare supplement plan, or you can go from one Medicare Advantage plan to another Medicare Advantage plan, and also your Part D, your prescription drug plan. You can adjust that as well. So that is the big open enrollment period. So he called me during that middle of open enrollment in November, and he said that he had some bad news for me.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I never like getting bad news, but if I can help someone through the bad news, then excellent. So he told me that he had been diagnosed recently with prostate cancer, and he was beginning to start his treatment. So Ken asked if he could use that annual enrollment period time to switch out of his Medicare Advantage plan and into a traditional Medicare supplement. Again, typically you can.
Sure.
Okay. But there are some rules in between then.
Absolutely.
One of those rules is what we call the 1 year free look back inside of your Medicare Advantage plan. So this look back period It begins when you start your Medicare Advantage plan.
So for Ken, that was November 1st of 2021.
Exactly. So he would have had a 1-year free look back to join a traditional Medicare supplement for free, no questions asked.
No underwriting, so they don't look at your medical records. You're just going to submit an application and your premium.
Yep, and you are automatically approved within any time throughout that first year. So he would have had that from November 21 to November 22.
Gotcha.
Because a little misconception with these plans, they do run on a calendar year. So your benefits will run on a calendar year from January to December. But your free look starts whenever you join your plan.
So if you are someone that's joined a Medicare Advantage plan and you're considering taking advantage of the free look, I would definitely recommend working with a professional first, because there may be an optimal time for you to make the switch. For example, let's say you hit your maximum out of pocket, and that might be a reason why you're like, maybe this didn't go the way you planned. You want to take a look at a supplement. Well, maybe you should consider waiting till the end of the year if your free look allows for it, because you're already 100% into the insurance company's pocket. Why start paying premium, have to open up the deductible again? You're just going to keep paying.
Exactly.
So you definitely want to take a look at, you definitely just want to consult with a professional anytime you make a decision. You want to make a decision around your Medicare, so that way you're getting all the information possible.
Absolutely. So I had to inform Ken during the middle of this time, because he was past his free year look by 2 years, 2022. So he's 2 years outside of it. Yeah.
Right.
So I just had to inform him that he would have to basically stay under his Medicare Advantage plan, or we could look at potentially getting another Medicare Advantage plan. Now, I felt comfortable because of the Medicare Advantage plan that he was in. I felt comfortable that, we should just stay with this plan and let's see what's going to happen.
So you said, unfortunately, he'd have to go through medical underwriting to get into a supplement at this point with a current cancer diagnosis. That would probably be unlikely for him to get back into the supplement. So, and we'll get into, that doesn't mean Ken is barred from supplements for the rest of his life because he's had a cancer diagnosis. But in this moment, because he's currently undergoing treatment or about to start treatment, it's unlikely that an insurance company is going to accept him into a supplement. But you helped him select this Medicare Advantage plan. His physicians are covered, his doctors were, his medications were covered, and you knew the benefits he was on. So it's like, I think you're in the best place, even with this new diagnosis, for the upcoming year.
That's right. So I've had a little bit of experience with folks using these plans on, maybe they have like a terminal illness or something very significant health-wise going on. So I felt very confident in this plan that it was going to do exactly what it's meant for.
Good.
So as you did say, we were not able to get him underwritten because these Medicare supplement plans, they do have a look back period on things like cancers or terminal illnesses. And typically that's going to be like a 2 to 3 year look back. So he would not have qualified for a Medicare supplement anyway.
But and that was kind of upsetting to Ken, because I know, you get your heart set on something, you think this is going to be the solution. But I thought maybe it would be great if you went through the numbers that you went through with Ken, the difference between even if he had the opportunity to go back to a supplement versus what he has now.
That's right. So I always like to lay stuff like that on the table to folks anyway, although I knew he would not qualify for a supplement. We broke down the numbers of the supplement cost compared to his Medicare Advantage plan. So with the supplement, if he would have taken a standard Plan G, that's going to be the most popular supplement out there, he would have had an additional monthly premium of about $180. And that's monthly that he'd have to be paying the insurance company. Plus an additional $25 for a prescription drug plan, because we know with these supplement plans, you have to get a Part D as well, which is your prescription drug plan. So 180 plus the 25, okay, that's going to be $2,460 a year additional that he would have to pay out of pocket just for that Plan G. Then we also know that Plan G does not cover absolutely everything. It does a fantastic job. It's very comprehensive, but it does not cover everything. One of the holes in that area, frankly, the only hole in that area, is going to be the Part B deductible, and that's going to be a $240 annual deductible.
And not everybody hits that every year that they're on their supplement, but we know Ken needs treatment we know it's going to be more than $240. So
That's
we
right.
know we are comfortable in saying this would be your cost next year.
They're going to be set costs because, again, he's going to have to pay these premiums to the insurance companies directly. So we know, hey, that $180 you're paying to the insurance company, that Part D extra $25 you're paying to the insurance company, and we know you're going to hit that $240 deductible because you're going to have some treatments coming up.
Got ya.
So his total expense for the year under that Plan G would run about $2,700 a year. Now, his Medicare Advantage plan that I had already felt comfortable with last year, okay, so when we were when he was in the plan in 2023, it had a max out of pocket of I believe $2,800 or $2,900.
Got ya.
But since he contacted me in the middle of open enrollment in November, I was able to see that was going to actually decrease to $2,400 for this year. And he was going to get some extra payments on that $200 copay flex card.
So you're telling me that even if he went back to the supplement, which he thought, okay, this is going to be the most cost-effective way for me to deal with this treatment, the reality was that even before we add in any extras from the insurance companies, just strictly talking about the medical benefits, his particular plan had a $2,400 maximum out of pocket, which means that's the most he can spend in 1 year on his care.
That's right. That is correct.
So for this year, while Ken is undergoing the majority of his treatment, his max is $2,400 versus he would have had to pay $2,700 on the supplement.
That's right. That's right. That Plan G would have essentially cost him a little bit more than the plan that he was already on with the adjustment made for 2024 of them dropping that max out of pocket down to $2,400.
So now let's fast forward, because I know you said, Ken, let's see how this goes, because there's always more opportunities for us to make adjustments down the line.
That's right. That's right. So I had Ken actually reach back out to me. I wanted to, when folks are concerned about things, always, and we select a plan for them, always ask them if they would, share with me their experience, what happens, because I'm confident, your plan is going to do what it needs to do, what it says it does. And I want to hear from you, once you've gone through everything, send me a bill or something. Okay. So Ken reached back out to me. And that's exactly why we're talking about him 6 months later.
and most of you won't be shocked to hear that Ken produced about $200,000 of medical bills.
That's right. That's right. So we're talking about a 6-month cancer treatment, a little over $200,000 on these bills. So one thing with Medicare is what we know, okay, is that mainly bill costs are coming from 2 areas of Medicare: your Part A, hospital coverage, and your Part B, your doctor's coverage or your medical coverage. So when I'm looking at Ken's bills, okay, I see that he had, 2 extended stays in the hospital billed at $50,000, $25,000 a piece, so $50,000 total. So I know his hospital coverage is covered by Part A, and then I know, for drugs like chemotherapy,
because those are administered in the doctor's office or in the hospital, so that's not a prescription, but it is still a drug.
That's right. That is not covered by your Part D plan under the Medicare Advantage plan. Those will be covered by your Part B. So Part B does cover specific drugs, again, administered in the hospital. Injections, infusions, things like that will be covered under Part B. And typically, that has an 80-20 split. So the plan would pick up 80%, and then Ken would pay 20%.
Up to his maximum out of pocket.
Up into his maximum. That is correct for anything in network. So $150,000 for chemotherapy. Okay. But we know since he has a Medicare Advantage plan, again, we're kind of getting a little bit detailed about these Medicare Advantage plans, but we know when you have a Medicare Advantage plan, you're really replacing your A and B coverage with your built-in Medicare Advantage copay plan.
And all that does not mean you're not on Medicare anymore. What that means is, and this is really, luckily, not very relevant to most people unless you want to get into the weeds with us, which is, this is how the payment system works. When you use a service, so Ken was in the hospital two extended stays and he had $150,000 worth of chemotherapy. On a supplement, your providers bill Medicare first. Then they bill your supplemental company. If you're on a Medicare Advantage plan like Ken the hospital is going to bill the Medicare Advantage plan. They aren't going to ever bill Medicare. That's why they call it a replacement, because your new insurance company stands between your provider and the government. That doesn't mean you're not on Medicare anymore. It also doesn't mean Medicare is not helping to pay for you anymore. It just means they have manipulated the payment system on the back end.
That's right. That's right. And something that I do want to clear up, because I do get quite a bit of calls and emails about this, are billing. So when folks look at their bills, the first thing they do, their eyes get wide, they get shocked, the jaw drops, because some of these, especially for Ken, you see $150,000 on there. You're like, wait a minute, why do I have to pay $150,000?
Right.
So when you're looking at these bills, there's going to be about 3 sections that you want to really pay attention to. The first section is just what the hospital has billed. Okay.
That's literally what they charged.
That's literally what they charge. So $150,000 of chemotherapy. The second section is what Medicare paid.
And this will be reflected for you. So this is the amount Medicare approves and then also paid.
That's right. That's right. And we're going to look at an example of Ken. So you got billed, you got what Medicare paid, and then the third is going to be your actual cost, how much you're going to pay, what your copay responsibility is.
So it's essentially the balance of whatever service. And if you're using a managed care plan like Medicare Advantage, you already have a decent idea of what you're going to pay. So this works the exact same way. If you ever got a bill for a copay to a specialist, let's say you're using a Medicare Advantage plan that has a $25 copay, the specialist could have billed $500 for the visit. Medicare is going to approve $475 of that. Your balance is $25. Now, most of the time you already paid the $25, so that would be reflected. But if it wasn't, you're just going to see, oh, I owe my $25, which was already laid out to you when you selected the plan.
That's right. Exactly. So with Ken, okay, he had an 8-night stay at the hospital. We know that was $25,000 for 2 stays, so really $50,000. But when we're looking at one bill, okay, Medicare approved $4,000 of it. Ken's portion was $1,880 of it, or $235 per day for the first 8 days. That would be his responsibility for inpatient hospital.
Gotcha.
Okay, that goes straight to his overall maximum out of pocket of $2,400. Now, what Ken was also able to do, he was also able to offset an additional $200 by using that copay card. So instead of writing a check for $1,880, he got to write a check for $1,680, with his maximum still being $1,880. Exactly.
Okay, cool. So this is actually an opportunity to utilize some of your extra benefits. So again, when you get a bill, if you're working with someone like Frank and you're like, this is a little higher than I'm used to, give them a call. Give Frank a call. And, I bet especially when you get a bill like that, you might forget, I've got that copay card I can use.
That's right.
Frank will be here to remind you there are some ways to continue to offset some of these expenses, potentially.
So that leaves us with about $520 that he had to fulfill in order to meet his maximum for the year. And we already know he had a $150,000 chemo bill on the way. So you can guarantee he was going to hit that.
Suffice it to say, this is one of those health issues that will get you to your maximum out of pocket. Not everyone does. Like, we've seen hip replacements, knee replacements that don't get people to their maximum out of pocket. So just because that's something I always like to say, just because you use the plan doesn't mean you're hitting your max. But Ken did.
Yeah. And a large part of that was the hospital stay.
Sure.
If you have something outpatient, like you mentioned, like a hip replacement or something like that, typically that's going to cost you about $250 or so.
Yeah.
So you're not even really going to get close to that maximum.
Right.
But because he had special drugs, the chemotherapy, the Part B drugs, and he has to pay 20% of that.
Right.
Although he only had $520 left after his hospital stay, he was going to hit that $2,400.
So tell me how you helped Ken with the last $520 or the last $520 that he had to pay.
So with Ken, he had that $520. So we know his chemo was $150,000. Medicare approved a little over $10,000 of that. So his portion would be 20% of that $10,000. So that would be over $2,000.
Sure.
So he just wrote a check for $320 because, again, he had $520 left to fulfill his max, and he got to use his copay card again because it was in a separate quarter.
And this is a perfect example of how the maximum out-of-pocket protects you, because I know you all were listening, which like $150,000, Medicare only approved 10. What happened to the other $140,000?
Yeah, what did happen to it?
His insurance company had to cover that.
That's right.
Woohoo. Right. Woohoo. So this is an example of when you do hit the max, the full protection kicks in. But Ken was really able to essentially have a $2,000 out-of-pocket maximum because he was able to utilize the 2 copay cards at different times, $200 each.
That's right.
So that's phenomenal. Now tell me, did Ken happen to mention how he felt using how you feel writing checks is never great, but like when he walks in, he hands the card in, did he have any extra hassle or issue while he's going through something that already is, difficult?
None to my awareness. Okay. Everything with the copay card went very smooth. In fact, the reason that he gave me a call back was to tell me, hey, thanks, you have me in the right plan. I reached my max out of pocket. Never like reaching the max out of pocket. I understand that for most folks, but he was very, very happy with his plan selection.
That's fabulous. And I'm sure, if there were a gripe or two, either he would have mentioned it to you or it wasn't significant enough for him to remember in the moment to bring it up. Because that's another important thing I always have mentioned to people. The only drawback you and I really have is that we don't actually get to be on the plans.
Right.
Like, we don't get to use them ourselves. So we know everything we can know about them, aside from actually being the ones to use it, which is another reason why it's so great when everyone calls and lets us know how they work.
Exactly.
Ken really gave us some insight into how this particular Medicare Advantage plan, it works when you use it. And so that just gives us more material and knowledge for, when you're sitting down with other people and they have concerns. Now, this doesn't mean that Medicare Advantage is the greatest fit for every single person, but what it also means is that it's kind of working the way we expected. Ken went 3 years where he didn't really use the plan very much. He was happy with how it was. Something came up that gave him a scare, made him think maybe I need to switch back. But Ken really already prepaid his maximum out of pocket those first 3 years that he was on the plan, not spending very much money anyway.
That's right. He was able to pocket that.
He was able to pocket the premium he didn't spend. He used his Medicare Advantage plan to the maximum, all of the extra benefits available, and he was able to cap his expenses, which were significant, just at that $2,000 level, essentially.
That's right. And this is a great example of these Medicare Advantage plans working how they are supposed to work, and getting the coverage that you need for something like cancer or, like I said, some sort of terminal illness. Whenever you think your bills are going to be, you get a bill in the mail for $150,000 and you think that that's your portion, that's your copay. You have a cutoff, you have a protection point, and when you hit it, you're done. And that's exactly what happened to Ken.
And most of the time you're going to receive a summary, an explanation of benefits. At the top, it says, this is not a bill.
That's right.
It's just reflecting the payment structure that we went through. First, it goes through Medicare or it goes through your Medicare Advantage plan, whichever you have. Then it gets passed on to you, or it gets passed on to the insurance company if you have a supplement, then passed on to you, and then you are left with the balance. But when you're seeing that first notification, it's not a bill. It's letting you know where it is in the process. You're going to get a separate bill that gives you just the dollar amount that you owe.
It's just amazing to me that here you have Ken probably having the worst year of his life, and the Medicare Advantage plan wound up saving him almost 40% on his out-of-pocket costs, because he would have spent $2,700 under a traditional supplement. And being that Frank was able to get him to utilize those copay cards, it dropped his cost to $2,000. So he saved almost 40% on what his medical bills would have been in what you could term the worst year of your life. I mean, cancer treatment is a pretty rough road to hoe, and to be able to do that at a 40% discount to what the supplement would have offered you seems like a win-win.
And this also means that in this upcoming year, now that Ken's been through treatment, you'll have the opportunity to say, hey, where are we in your treatment process? Is this still the best option, or do we want to switch you to a different plan based on what your current needs are?
Exactly. And that's something that Ken and I talked about whenever he called me and gave me the good news. So we'll be reevaluating his plan, of course, during open enrollment, as most folks should do, go through it, because things are expected to change for this year. So I'm going to want to take a look at everybody's plans. Sure. Now for Ken Okay. Of course, his main question was, could he go back to a supplement ever? Again, cancer is going to have probably a 3-year look back at best for most insurance companies. So we would have to wait until 2027 in order to try to see if he could get underwritten for a Medicare supplement.
And also, this is another thing where you want to consult with a professional on this because for example, Frank can work with multiple carriers to say which company's most likely to accept you if you still decide you want to go back to a supplement. We're here to assist with that. So as opposed to just submitting applications, unfortunately getting rejected if maybe one underwriter has different standards than another, you can work with someone that kind of already knows the underwriting standards of the insurance companies. And then secondly, each diagnosis can be treated differently, meaning that different cancer diagnoses are going to have different look backs, or they're going to just be exclusionary altogether depending upon the situation. Things like prostate cancer, skin cancer, those are they're more prevalent, they're more curable, which means they're more likely to have a shorter look back period, like that 3 years of remission, as opposed to some other ones. So again, important to have conversations with people that can help assist you really limit your paperwork and aggravation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we do have a text question. Frank, when do notices go out to show new premium for next year if you are on a supplement?
Typically, those will come out about 3 months before you started your plan, so the anniversary month of the plan.
So if you started January 1st, you should expect to see those notices towards the end of the year.
Exactly.
Really. September, October of the end of the year, you'll see what the plan price is going to be. And that's really important for some of you. If you already received your renewal notice for a supplement, and let's say your renewal is in March, you might not see your renewal notice for next year until January, and you'll be out of open enrollment period.
That's right.
Which means you won't have your opportunity to truly shop your Medicare Medicare Advantage is a good thought for you or not. But also, if you are receiving your supplement notices, hang on to them, because if they're not going into effect until next year or much later, then that'll be something that Frank can use if you decide you'd like to work with us to compare what the best option is going to be for you.
I would also say, because we are expecting, a lot of changes for next year. So during the open enrollment period, I would also suggest you can, on your card, there'll be a number on the back of it. Should be like a customer service or something. You can call that number and they can tell you how much your premium is going to be.
Even outside of your renewal notice?
Even outside, even prior to that, they should be able to let you know how much that would be.
So if you're chomping at the bit,
yep,
you want to know your number, or you're somebody that has heard Ken's story and you're like, hey, maybe during this open enrollment, I would like to check out Medicare Advantage just to hear what it's like. Well, you can always give the office a call, 314-863-0008, or send Frank an email, franklin@jblfinancial.com, or just go to our website, jblfinancial.com, click on the Contact Us section and say, I want to chat with Frank. Like Frank mentioned, open enrollment's going to fill up really quickly this year. We usually don't even start talking about it till we get out of summer. But if you want to get on the calendar with Frank, give our office a call so we can make sure that we can get you in. And then we'll ask you do a little homework on your end so we can do all the homework on our side, which is get us your new supplemental premium amount for 2025. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, they're supposed to be increasing.
Right. They're supposed to be increasing by double digits, unfortunately, in most cases, up to 20% more. So get that number so Frank can do a real comparison of your costs. Just like now with Ken's, it was theoretical because we knew he wasn't going to qualify for the supplement. But those are real numbers that Frank used to say, if we were to be able to secure it for you, this is what it would have cost.
That's right. And we were on the low end with those numbers. If we would have done that, this year, the average cost for someone new coming on to a Plan G turning 65 is about $190 for a male and about $175 for female in the St. Louis area.
We didn't juke the stats, but we gave him the lowest possible premium amount, and he still came out ahead with the Medicare Advantage. So,
and I thought another great point you guys made was, had he been on the supplement the whole time, he would have been paying that premium for services that he didn't need. So he only needed to hit his max out of pocket. This is what the 4th year he's been on Medicare. The other 3 years he would have been stuck with premium that he wasn't taking advantage of.
That's right. He would have been paying about $2,500 every single year for that plan, and it would have added up.
From a financial
that's what you mean by he was saving, Aaron.
Yes.
From a financial standpoint, every year would have been the worst year medically of his life, because he would have been paying as though it was the worst year medically of his life.
Yeah.
Statistically, we know that people in Missouri and Illinois at least only hit their maximum out of pocket about one time every 7 years. So that means, Ken, the odds are in your favor.
That's right.
That the next few years are going to be good, healthy ones for you. So hopefully Frank will be here to continue to help you find the best option available based on your current healthcare needs. And that's true for everyone that wants to give us a call. So thank you for coming in, Frank, this morning.
You.
This was a great segment. We really appreciate it. For everyone else, don't touch that dial. We will be right back after these messages with our last half hour of Straight Talk on retirement.
You know, it's one of these lost arts. When's the last time you said, I think I'll draw a bath and just relax? And on those rare occasions when you actually do, it feels great, and you think, why didn't I do this more often? You can get a walk-in tub with jets, great massage therapy out of that. Michael's Baths, the people to turn to. They're owned locally. They've been doing it for 30 plus years. And maybe it's not a bath that you're into. Maybe you want to do a conversion of a bath to a walk-in shower. Done. They can do that as well. And it's not that plastic kit where they bring in a mold and glue it to what's already there. That's just going to be a Band-Aid for your problems. You don't want that. Financing options are available. They'll give you a free estimate. This isn't a temporary fix. This is a lifetime of relaxing. Michael's Baths, online at michaelsbath.com.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to the show. It's 10:36 here on the Big 550 KTRS, Talk Radio St. Louis. I'm Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach.
I'm Aaron Lapidus, the retirement coach.
And I'm Robert Markham, your life insurance and fixed annuities sales specialist.
And we are willing, waiting, and wanting to answer your questions at 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line.
And we've got a follow-up text to our last segment, and our first texter writes, my mom's supplement went up $25 a month. I don't have the notice yet. And we'll probably expect to see a lot more of that as we go through the summer and into the fall.
Right.
Because we were warned that this was going to happen.
We were warned. That is correct.
We were. And our next texter writes, so, Frank, is it possible that being the supplement plans may go up double digits, that associated, what's AP?
I'm not exactly sure what AP said, accounts payable.
That accounts payable will need to change costs in some way.
What it means is if your plans go up double digits, that essentially the insurance companies are passing on the additional associated costs to the enrollees as opposed to absorbing them. And we had an executive from Essence on several weeks ago kind of chatting about this, and I thought he made an excellent point, which is that with the supplements, there's really only one lever, so to speak, to pull for the insurance companies. They want to get as many people enrolled as possible, and they're hoping that they will spend as little as money as possible, so the healthier people with premium are paying for the less healthy. It's essentially the same idea as any risk pool for any insurance that you've been accustomed to in the past. With Medicare Advantage plans, they have a lot of different levers that they have available to pull because they have quite a few. They have different payers involved. The federal government is involved in a payment system to the insurers. You are involved in a cost sharing with the insurance company to meet that maximum amount of pocket as part of your responsibility. And then the insurance company is also a payer. Either they're providing you with some extra providing you with some extra benefits, or they are providing you with lower maximum amount of pockets, more lucrative additional benefits like lower co-pays when you see the doctor. They have the opportunity to make small tweaks to many different levers, so they don't have to pull down hard on one single lever. They might just tweak every individual lever to get to where they need to go, which means you may see big changes if it was a particular benefit you really liked, or you might see relatively small changes if you were okay with everything and now everything's just a little bit different.
Absolutely. I mean, every year they change, so it wouldn't be unusual, given some of the changes that are coming down, to see some of those over-the-counter benefits or some of those peripheral benefits modified in some way.
And I was having this conversation with a client just yesterday because we had this conversation, which is we've seen the extra benefits that insurance companies are offering truly explode over the last 12 years. When I started, Aetna was originally called Coventry, which no longer exists. Their dental benefit was $250 a year, and you had to use their dental network. So they limited you to basically a cleaning, and you had to use a small network of their doctors, of their dentists, meaning they were limiting their exposure as well. Now that Aetna benefit, that Coventry has become Aetna, and that benefit is now $3,250 a year, and there's no dental network. So if we saw a reversion back to get $1,000 a year in dental, you get $1,500 a year in dental as opposed to the $3,250, still a significant benefit, still significantly better than it was about 10 years ago, and still more than the supplements are offering.
You just stole my last point. I mean, you're not getting any of those peripheral benefits with the supplement. And if you look at the premium as like a way of prepaying your max out of pocket, you're prepaying your max out of pocket. So, I mean, just using math as your guide, why not say, hey, maybe the next 5 years are not going to be the worst 5 years of my life. Let me see if I can maybe only hit my max out of pocket one of the next 5 years, rather than paying for a supplement plan that you're paying for that premium whether you use it or not.
Our texter did clarify AP for Advantage plans. So,
Thank you.
Yes, the Advantage plans are going to have changes associated with them too. It's usually just a direct cost is not passed on to the enrollees on Medicare Advantage because they weren't paying a premium to start, but there will be differences. So like we mentioned, changes in copay amounts, changes in maximum amount of pockets, those all will inevitably have an effect on the enrollees. It just won't have an immediate impact the way that when you receive a premium notice, that's next month or 2 months from now, that's your responsibility. So there could be a little sticker shock for people to get things going this year.
It isn't unreasonable to postulate that in lieu of having zero premium plans, maybe the Medicare Advantage plans, at least the ones that are popular here, maybe they do have premiums, but they're keeping the goodies as they are so that people don't feel like there's being things taken away.
Or we could see a literal proliferation of plans, meaning let's just use the Aetna Gold Advantage because that's a popular one. It's got some pretty nice benefits this year. It's a zero premium HMO style plan. Really, it's more like it's really a PPO without out-of-network benefits because you can see any physician you like as long as they're in network, no referrals are required. So you're in a captive network, but you don't have to get those referrals to see specialists anymore. Got a $2,400 maximum out of pocket and, almost $10,000 of extra benefits. Maybe they keep that plan similar and they say, well, that's $25 a month for this plan, and then they have the Aetna Gold Advantage Slim where they cut back on some of those extra benefits, but they can keep the premium zero for you. So if you were a person, I don't need the hearing because I can hear, and it doesn't cure selective hearing. By the way, those hearing aids, they don't fix that.
Your mom told me.
A lot of wives have told me that it doesn't work on their husband. But anyway, so I don't need the hearing benefit, and I only do cleaning, so I don't need a full $3,000 a year of dental. I still want a zero premium plan. You're going to maybe there's a lot of options that the insurance companies are going to have in order to contain their costs. It's one of their number one skills.
Well, again, I think it's like anything else. You have to say, if I perceive this as lemons, how do we make lemonade?
And that's something that we talk about a lot, not just with our Medicare clients, but our financial clients as well. And the other thing that I would just point out is if a lot of these extra benefits are bells that don't ring for people, meaning it's a real nice bell or whistle to look at, but if you're not going to utilize it, maybe it's okay that it's not there.
It's all good. So again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. And I guess while we're waiting for your future text phone calls, let's answer the number one question that we receive when we have coaching sessions. Am I a rock star? Am I a retirement rock star? And we've been promoting this concept of retirement rock stars for, 10 years now.
It's been a while.
And it's been kind of fun. So folks that are listeners, and that's who comes in to see us as our listeners, let's talk about Paul and Judy. Paul's 63 years old, and he works for one of the public utilities here in the city. His wife, Judy, is 64 and is a fourth grade teacher in St. Louis County.
Nice.
I like that. They've accumulated a fair amount of assets. They have $1.6 million in retirement assets and $60,000 in savings and $70,000 in the stock of the utility. Not unusual. As we did we obviously visit with them for a coaching session, and so they could figure out if they're rock stars. And we determined after a lengthy discussion that their current monthly after-tax spending is $7,000. Naturally, what we do is, since that's an after-tax number, we like to gross that up for taxes, times by 20%. So our pre-tax goal is now $8,400 per month. When we look at Paul's normal Social Security retirement, which is around $3,000, Judy's pension, because she was obviously a teacher, is around $2,300. They have a net deficit of about $3,300 per month, or $39,600 per year, which again is that part of their paycheck that we're going to be asked to replace for them. We naturally do a analysis of what I like to call the milk money. How much capital do we need based on a prudent rate of withdrawal, 4%, to get them the $39,600 per year? And that math is kind of easy, right?
Yes.
Take $1 million times 4%.
Divided by 4%.
Times 4%, that's $40,000. They need $39,600. So they need about $1 million of milk money. But that's when the faucets are all turned on.
Which is like 2027.
Exactly.
We got a few years to go.
We do. And we know that from 2024 through 2027, Paul is not going to have Social Security. So we're not going to be electing his benefit. And we know that we're stuck not doing that because he wants to wait till normal retirement age.
Okay.
So we need to, again, they have an $8,400 a month goal. We're going to have Judy's pension of $2,300. So we're really short about $5,100 per month over a 12-month times 4 years, which is about $245,000. So that's money that we're going to also have to pull out on top of the milk money, plan for.
And we're being very conservative because we're assuming no growth in the $245,000 that they're going to need over the next several years.
Right, exactly. And so the total capital they will need is $1 million for the milk money, which is something they'll want to have on an ongoing basis, hopefully reasonably safe and secure from risk, and well diversified, and $245,000 to make up that intermediate period. That was good. Intermediate period.
The interregnum.
Thank you.
That's one of your faves.
Total $1.245 million. They're at 1.6 in retirement assets, and
so that means they even have a cushion.
They've got a nice cushion because in their particular case, what we're looking at is not a 4% withdrawal rate, which is kind of the maximum, but in their case, we're really looking at something that's around 3.
What about if
3's great?
Right.
3's 25% less than 4. You have to love that.
Absolutely.
So what this really does is it gives them the room and the time so that if they need to change their spending, or
want to change their spending,
exactly, or they have projects that they need capital for, whether it's redoing the deck or having to have a new kitchen, etc. That's cool. What I didn't mention is something we discussed during our visit, is that they have a mortgage payment of about $1,300 a month.
Ooh.
Of the $7,200. If we exhaust or get rid of that mortgage payment, that'll bring our numbers way down. That'll bring the milk money way down.
And well, instead of needing $3,300 a month, they would need $2,100 a month, or
right.
$2,000 a month. I'm sorry.
Right. So over 12 months, that's $24,000. We divide that by 4%. That means the milk money goes from $1 million exactly to $600,000. Oh my God! So if their mortgage is really less than $400,000, we're thinking about, hey, let's kill this puppy, right? Let's get rid of it quicker, and not necessarily in a lump sum, so they get killed from a tax point of view, but maybe what we're doing is maybe we're taking a 20-year mortgage and making it into a 10, or a 20 making it into a 5, whatever it might be. It sort of goes back to one of our callers earlier this morning about how he was like kind of working out the tax brackets in terms of getting income. And that's what we would be really looking at, which is how much is their current cash flow, which we know. Will they be under $90,000 a year, which they are, which will keep them effectively in a 12% effective tax rate. So we could withdraw money more than they need for their income purposes as a way to help them get rid of this obligation, which will then reduce their cash flow need even further. And really what that does is, again, that opens up the capital is necessary, because you think about it, at the end of the day, if we need only 600,000 of, let's call it $1.4 million, well, I mean, we're talking about less than what is that, 40%, 35%? So all the rest of that money, if we've kept the milk money secure reasonably, giving us our 4%, they could exhaust this money, use it, gift it,
have some fun,
have a little bit of fun. And what it really then does is it really brings the financial temperature down. We
gives
can
them some more security.
Well, right. And obviously having a lower withdrawal rate makes things good. I mean, what it does is it really, I think it puts you in a position where you can be a little more comfortable. You can make some better decisions, and you don't feel so restricted about, I have to have all my money working and doing X, Y, Z, and worrying about the markets going up and down, or the elections, or whatever might be going on, climate change, whatever it would be. So, good. So it's neat to have rock stars, and we're visiting with them every single week, which is really what's fun about it. And you're our listeners. You know how to do it. Give us a call, 314-863-0008, or you can send us an email, Erin at, because she takes them all, jblfinancial.com.
You know what else we should take?
Break number 2 of the hour, so we can get back
that.
and we can fire in the coaches for our last 7 or 8 minutes of the show. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
You know what they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and windows and doors are usually that first impression when it comes to your home. Dalco Home Remodeling custom makes their windows and doors, and better yet, they make them here in Missouri. Dalco Home Remodeling is locally and family owned, celebrating 50 years, so they know a thing or two. The Dalco team is known for quality and customer satisfaction. That's the way it was 50 years ago when they started, and that's still true today. So if you're looking to change the look of your home without breaking the bank, call Dalco Home Remodeling. They do free in-home estimates. Just call 314-298-7300 and make an appointment. You can also check them out online at dalcohomeremodeling.com. As they've always said, if you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved at Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call Dalco first, 314-298-7300.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Now, back to Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Well, we're back for our last segment here on the Big 550 KTRS, Talk Radio St. Louis. Phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. 2 hours have been flying.
Absolutely. And our next texter writes, does Frank work with new customers just on Medicare? Is there a fee involved? There's never a fee to meet with Frank.
No fees to meet with Frank. If you decide to work with us, Frank is paid by the insurance company. It's called a commission. And that puts us on the payroll for you, which means that not only will Frank help you select and enroll in Medicare, help you select the right plan to supplement or couple with your Medicare coverage, we'll also be here, just like he was for Ken, if you were listening to our Medicare segment this morning, with any issues that come up, any questions that you have. We're here to assist, and then also to assist every year to make sure that your health care follows your health care needs.
It only costs if you don't work with Frank.
It's a great point. And yes, Frank is more than willing to assist individuals who either have other advisors or you're not necessarily ready or in need of a financial advisor. Frank would be more than happy to work with you.
And our next texter writes, what documents do you request to have available during a review or a coaching session? How often do you visit with clients each year? And is there a separate fee for those visits?
Well, this is a big question. So first, little different for prospective clients versus reviews. With prospective clients, you are going to get an email from our office manager. Her name is Kelly, and it just gives you that list of what we're looking for. We have a financial questionnaire that's just some pedigree information about yourselves, your family, spending. It's a couple pages. We try to keep it as brief as we can. Then we have a list of documents which just include things about your financial life: wills, trusts, your last tax return, pay stubs, so we can see not only what your net pay is, but also what you're contributing to retirement accounts, HSA accounts, things like that.
Life insurance, annuities.
Any other financial documents that you might have that you'd like us to take a look at. So the list, as I like to say, is it's not exhaustive, which means you don't have to produce things you don't have. And if you have things that aren't on the list that you'd like us to see, we're more than willing to take a look at them during our coaching sessions. With reviews with clients, if there's a specific document they'd like us to take a look at, they have life insurance that's up for a conversion, they're looking at paying off a mortgage like we were talking about, expediting the payment of a mortgage with Paul and Sally in our last segment.
Weddings or travel or anything that might come up.
If we've scheduled the meeting, we'll usually provide the documents that we'd like to discuss if it's specific.
Yeah, I think what's important about documentation is, especially in initial coaching sessions, the more specific and detailed information that we have, the quicker it is for us to be able to do our work.
And the more refined the conversation we can have about you is.
Right. So we don't want people to bring us summaries or create their own summaries. I mean, we truly want a copy of your last 401k statement, or a copy of a brokerage statement.
Because we can see what you're invested in. We can see the proportions. We can see when you purchased it in some cases, what the cost basis is if it's an after-tax account. Right. There's a lot of pieces that you might not think to include on a summary that we want to take a look at on the original document. The other question was, we meet with our clients as frequently as they would like to meet with us. However, we keep a schedule to ensure that we chat with everyone between 1 and 4 times a year at minimum. We consider that our minimum. Clients are more than welcome to call, email, come in as frequently as they'd like. There are never any additional charges. Our fee is 1% annually for the money that we manage. Comes out 0.25% per quarter from your accounts with us. And that is inclusive of everything we do, from our initial visit all the way to our annual quarterly visits with you, calls, emails, texts, phone calls, visits in the office, meetings with Frank.
Yeah, as we like to say, you put us on the payroll.
Right, no a la carte services or charges.
Right, all of our clients pay the same fee.
That's right.
1% per year.
And our last texter writes, I am getting ready to retire in 6 to 9 months. My advisor advised moving to an all-cash position in the meantime. Is this a good idea? No.
They weren't in it. Well, you're going to be in an all-cash position as soon as you do the rollover because that's mechanically what happens. It's going to liquidate to cash and then roll over into your newly created IRA or Roth account, depending upon what type of 401k you have.
The big deal here is that we're going to be, if we're your advisors, we're planning, unless you have a health issue, that you're going to be our advisor for at least, or we're going to be advisors for you for at least in the next 20 years. So therefore, for us to have that milk money growing in such a way so that it can generate a 4% withdrawal rate.
We want to keep you in the game.
We got to keep you in the game. So we're going to look at what you have. It'll become cash, but then what it'll do is it will become newly invested money. We'd love to talk to you about that during a coaching session. Give us a call, 314-863-0008. Again, 314-863-0008. See you next week.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Be listening next week at 9 for more straight talk on retirement with your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus, on the Big 550 KTRS.